Stream elements. CyberX is now live. Streaming Star Trek, Resurgence, I'm the commander now.
Captain's log, stardate 57931.4. The crew is restless. After spending too many months piecing our ship back together. We're finally about to venture out on a new mission. And the crew isn't letting this unprecedented ion storm slow them down. They're ready for something different. I know I am. Perhaps more than any of them. Fortunately, nothing ever stays the same. It's entropy, the nature of the universe. Change is inevitable. And while entropy says order gives way to chaos, in this case, change is good. Our new first officer is en route to the Resolute. Jara Rydek. I know she'll bring a welcome dose of new blood to the crew.
Thanks.
No problem.
I'm not great with flying. But these little shuttles are the worst.
You don't like flying. And yet, you joined Starfleet.
There's a reason I'm not a pilot.
You should try it sometime.
Sorry, I'm a little anxious.
I hadn't noticed.
I'm on my way to my first assignment. When we get to the starbase, I'm transferring on to the Resolute.
So am I.
It won't be easy for Jara to step in at the 11th hour like this. But if she's half the officer I knew she could become when she was a cadet at Starfleet Academy, she'll be the XO this ship needs right now.
Commander? I'm not usually such a nervous wreck, by the way. I actually did well at the Academy.
Oh yeah?
Maybe you've heard of the Torvalin test?
Sounds familiar.
It's a tactical simulator that makes the Kobayashi Maru look like a picnic on Pintaris 5. Anyway, I finished in the top 20. Not just in my class. I mean, all time. In the history of the Academy. So, there's that.
Simulations are great for training, but they're not quite the same as the real thing.
That's fair. I guess I'm about to find out.
Please place your hand here. Hold it there for a few seconds. Welcome, Commander Rydek.
Wait, you're Jara Rydek? You absolutely crushed the Torvalin test. You finished in what, like the top 3?
That would be me.
Now I'm really... It's an honor to meet you, Commander. Sorry, I didn't realize before. I just came off the shuttle and was glad to be on solid ground, so to speak.
When people say top 3, what they really mean is third place. I'm not first. So there's always room for improvement.
I'll, keep working then.
I believe Commander Ermot is expecting you. He's in the concourse just ahead.
See you on the Resolute.
Good day, Commander.
If I remember my briefing, Commander Ermot is a Bolian, so I'm looking for someone with blue skin. Excuse me.
Welcome to the edge of the galaxy, Commander Rydek. I'm Commander Jan Ermot, Operations Officer on the Resolute. Commander? I hope there wasn't too much trouble getting here. This storm isn't making anything easy for us right now. I know conditions are less than ideal at the moment.
It was perfectly fine. No trouble at all.
I'm glad to hear it. We're grateful you were able to come fill our first officer vacancy at such short notice. From everything I've read and everything I've heard, we're lucky you were available to us. Coming from a premier starship and all. To our little research vessel.
I'll do my best to live up to expectations.
Oh, I'm sure you'll do just fine. And if I can help in any way, just let me know.
Kiss him! He wants it. Kiss him! I mean, the graphics look really good everywhere, but that looks really bad. The metals don't look like they're...
She can more than hold her own.
Same thing here. Both of these pictures look odd. The detail on the people look really high.
Accident?
The equipment malfunctioned. An accident suggests fault, but no one's to blame. It was a planned test, but the warp core was pushed beyond its limits.
There's no
lithium, there was a runaway reaction, and the warp bubble deformed. We thought we could reach a higher resonant frequency, but it was more than she could handle. Cost us our first officer and 22 of our crew. At the end of the day, we're all responsible for each other. That's what it means to be a crew.
To have lost so many lives. That's a high price to pay.
Too high by any estimation. But there's nothing that can be done about it now except get back to work. And make sure it never happens again. Listen. I realize you've known Captain Solana for quite some time. And I'm glad you're ready to bring your best. But I should warn you that when the captain announced you would be the new first officer, there were those who felt it was a mistake, that he should have promoted from within. So you might want to tread lightly at first. Until they come to value your contributions as much as he does.
All due respect to anyone that feels that way. They're gonna have to get over it. I'm here, and I have a job to do, just like anyone else.
That's true, but I wouldn't say it like that. Starfleet has assigned us a high-priority mission to the Hotari region. the captain brief you on board. I know he's eager to see you.
Will we be mission ready in time?
We have every intention. The crew has been working around the clock to get the ship ready. There's still so much to do.
Then why were you just chilling here doing nothing?
Stuck. I got just the thing.
This is odd.
That.
It seems odd. Is this the tutorial? Why am I playing a lower dex person when I'm supposed to be the first officer?
I thought the thing was totally fried.
Ooh, a dex level. I hope she's not a douche.
Nice work, Carter.
Nothing to it, Millie.
And not a moment too soon. The boss wants us down in engineering. Like, now.
Teleport. So, okay, I thought I was looking forward to just playing us, but it looks like we're gonna play different. Never seen a. Oh, okay, that's Jeffrey Stroop. Nice. I like that.
Engineer.
All the previous Star Trek games. I played a shit ton of Star Trek Online.
I just hope whatever Chovak called us down for, it's something good. I can never tell with him. I'd rather not end up degaussing plasma manifolds. Hanging upside down makes me queasy.
You and me working together, we can tackle anything he throws at us.
Your optimism is positively contagious.
She's got a nice ass, though.
Looks like we got here before.
Lieutenant Commander Chovak.
We were just looking for you, Commander.
Petty Officers Ed Solar, Diaz. I was beginning to think you would be late. We are all hands on deck right now, which means if you are not at your post at the appointed time, I do not have someone to replace you. A point I have been forced to make to Petty Officer Edzelar on repeated occasions.
Well, Commander Chovak, isn't it true that if we were almost late, it categorically means that we were not late?
That is correct, Mr. Diaz.
I mean, if anything, Edzelar and I are following the schedule to the letter.
Yes, perhaps I should adjust the schedule accordingly.
So, I don't suppose you wanted us down here to check in before we go off duty?
Equip yourselves in EV suits to work on the exterior of the hull. I need you to tune the structural integrity field for optimal performance. The subspace distortions and ionic interference we are experiencing are preventing the proper calibration. But this ship must be ready to depart shortly, despite the storm. The precise nature of these disturbances are not fully understood. But many systems have been affected by the wide band of emissive activity.
Whatever it throws at us, we'll be ready. We've got the best chief engineer in the fleet.
I am a Vulcan, Mr. Diaz. Flattery is not necessary. All that I require is that you do your job. Right now, that entails critical preparations, because long-range sensors show that these disturbances will be more severe at our destination, the Hotari system. You have your orders. Do not delay.
Yes, Commander Chovak. All hands on deck.
What's that?
All hands on deck. That's what Chovak said. You know what that means? It means this ship isn't ready to go out, and the brass know it. So they're throwing every warm body at it. And they're going to leave on schedule. Consequences be damned.
It all comes down to us, Nelly. We're the ones who will get it ready.
I know what we can do. But this isn't just any old refit or any old relaunch.
Oh, whoa.
Excuse me.
A lot of new faces coming on board. It's gotta be tough coming as a replacement. That's for sure.
We've been through a whole hell of a lot as a crew. They're gonna have to prove themselves before they're really one of us.
Yeah, you're right. Anyone could look serious in a clean uniform. Show me what you can do when everything's falling apart. Hold on. Now there's an old face I didn't expect to see again. Hey, Miranda!
You weren't gonna leave without me, were you?
Miranda, you're here?
We thought you were staying on the Adirondack.
Transfer came in at the last minute, so I figured I'd slum it on this bucket of bolts. Looks like you got her back together pretty nicely. I wasn't sure what to expect.
I'm gonna take the high road here, pretend you didn't say that, and welcome you aboard.
He's a better diplomat than I am.
He still owes me a bottle of Saurian brandy. Don't think I forgot.
Oh yeah, it's coming back to me now.
Maybe Carter can rustle up that bottle and we can give you a proper welcome. As soon as we wrap up this quick little spacewalk.
Here, let me help you.
Thanks.
So what's the word? Are you back in the security rotation?
Yep. Still running with the usual suspects.
Whoa!
Good to go. See you on the other side.
Activating magnetic souls. Never gets old.
Let's go.
Captain Solano should be here momentarily. You'll have to forgive me, I don't know much about Kobleods. But my understanding is you need a steady supply of duridium to keep your cell structure stabilized, or bad things start to happen.
And we have plenty of Duridium in sickbay, so there's no risk of running out.
Thank you.
Feel free to make yourself at home. And help yourself to whatever you like from the replicator.
Just a sip of something. Ractigino. That sure has a kick.
Jara Ryder. Last time I saw you, it was graduation from the Academy. You'd already secured one of the most prestigious assignments possible. And you were burning with enough ambition to fuel 7 trips around the Necrid Expanse.
It's good to see you again, Captain.
I could not be happier to have you on the Resolute. My only regret is that we couldn't provide you with a warmer welcome. The arrival of a first officer to her new ship deserves a bit of fanfare. But, unfortunately, we've had our hands full with the refit.
That would be totally unnecessary. I don't need any pomp and circumstance.
You've been here all of 5 minutes, and already you're trying to make us more efficient. I like it. As I'm sure you've heard, we've had a rough go of it these last 6 months. The ship suffered some damage, but not nearly as much as the crew.
You'll have to forgive me. I don't really know the details.
Starfleet has been kind enough to keep the story contained. Probably because they want to protect me. But I don't mind telling you. We were on the verge of a major scientific breakthrough. A quantum leap forward in warp core technology. 10,000 teradynes per second. The ability to travel at a sustained rate of speed longer and faster than we ever dreamed. What would have been the crowning achievement of my career. Right there. Within our grasp. Until it all went so horribly wrong. We pushed her too hard, and a warp core malfunction overloaded the system, creating a pressure gradient way beyond what the ship can handle. It was heartbreaking. We lost some of our best people. As captain, I have to take full responsibility. It was my decision to make, and I have to live with the consequences.
We all know the risks when we sign up. There are no guarantees, as much as we tell ourselves otherwise.
True. But as captain, my job is to mitigate and manage the risks as much as possible. And that's where I failed. In my defense, I will say, I might have avoided the whole ordeal if my senior staff had been willing to trust me. There was a lot of pushback from my former XO, and I think that cost me his confidence. I don't want you to pull any punches. Certainly not on my account. But once we decide on a course of action, I need everyone to fully commit to the mission. Anything short of that just won't work. And that's when things start to go sideways.
This is your ship, and you are the captain. So as far as I'm concerned, whatever you say, goes.
That's the kind of support I'm looking for. Look, I'll be blunt. We can't afford another mistake. Or at least, I can't. I feel like my career is hanging in the balance here. We need a win. Something to restore the crew's confidence.
I understand.
On a more positive note, Starfleet has tasked us with what they're calling a mission of the highest priority. Escorting a senior diplomat to Hotari space. 2 previously peaceful and otherwise non-aggressive civilizations now find themselves on the brink of all-out war.
So it's a peacekeeping mission.
I see it. is a golden opportunity to not only prove what the Resolute and her crew are truly capable of, but also a mission for which we're uniquely qualified. This ionic storm. Our long-range sensors suggest it's several orders of magnitude stronger than anything on record. A total anomaly like nothing we've seen before. And you'll never guess where it leads.
Hatari.
Exactly. Very nearly in the precise location where we're headed. Where I imagine the interference will be exponentially greater. But the diplomat will brief us on the details of the rendezvous.
Who is the senior diplomat we're escorting?
That I don't know. Starfleet hasn't said. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I expect we'll have some rough sledding when we arrive, so I need you to prepare the crew for the worst. There's just one more thing I want to clarify up front. The metric that for me will be the ultimate measure of your success.
What is it?
If after serving as my first officer, you don't one day find yourself with a ship of your own, then I will consider it my personal failure. When that might happen is entirely up to you. But it goes without saying, you have my full support.
It's been a dream of mine since before I can remember. So I would be honored to become a captain someday.
As long as you're willing to do the work, you have my promise. I'll do everything in my power to see that it happens.
Thank you.
Come. Let me introduce you to the crew.
I don't give a fuck about the crew. It won't let me get another drink before we go. Damn. Okay, so I'm playing this like James T. Kirk would. Arrogant, in charge, womanizer.
Everyone, if I could have your attention for a moment.
Listen up, bitches!
I'd like to introduce Commander Jara Rydek.
Get your shit together! Yeah, I wish they'd give us a few more options for chat.
Some quick introductions.
The options
this is Lieutenant Handar, our helmsman.
Tighter.
One of the best in the business.
One of?
Well, what he lacks in humility, he more than makes up for in ability.
A pleasure to meet you, Commander.
Likewise.
Next, we have Commander Westbrook, our Chief Science Officer.
Regardless of how this game is good or bad or anything else,
pleasure.
Just the fact that they're making a game like
Commander
this
Rydek,
in this form
it is such an honor to meet you.
This is our tactical officer, Lieutenant Bedrosian. We've been looking forward to meeting you for about as long as I can remember.
I've been following your career for quite some time.
Bitch.
And I look forward to learning as much as I can from you.
That's very kind of you to say.
So there's no like options to like.
Well, I have to admit, one of the reasons I've followed your career is because you're part Kobliad, because of what you've overcome. Starfleet stands up for people who can't defend themselves, and you were one of those people once. But since then, you've done so much to protect
my identity isn't wrapped up in who I am, bitch.
So, you've been something of an inspiration to me. Not that I've done anything close to what you've done, but you definitely set a standard to strive for.
That's very kind of you to say, but enough about me. We have a lot of work to do.
Oh, yes, of course.
And then, of course, you've already met Commander Ermont. Please, do everything you can to make Commander Rydek feel at home here. I'll be on the starbase. Have an urgent meeting with the starbase commander to get our authorization to get underway. If they drag their feet any longer, we won't make our rendezvous. The bridge is yours.
Is it gonna take us right back to the outside the ship?
The helm. The Resolute is a refitted Centaur class. meaning it's capable of quick maneuvers. Can't wait to see what she can do.
Report. Status report.
Science station. The Resolute is a science vessel, primarily. Might explain Commander Westbrook's attitude. I'll have to speak with him later. So many decks. Full of crew that are now my responsibility. Operations. Staffing, supplies. There's a lot to keep track of on a starship. Good thing we have Commander Ermont. The first officer seat. My seat. Right now, though, I need to fill in for Captain Solano. Tactical station.
This tactical station's way too high for her.
We use our weapons much. But if it comes to that, we'll be ready.
She's way too short for how the station's set up. That's really odd. In the show, that would have been Worf, and he was really tall. So it makes sense, but in here, you can see that they want to have somebody there, but I mean, this should be half this height. That's ridiculous.
Commander, Chief Engineer Chovak needs to lower the structural integrity field. He's sent a crew out to recalibrate the emitters in response to the danger posed by the storm. We just need your go-ahead.
Permission granted.
Lowering structural integrity field, now.
Entering maintenance mode. Condition blue.
The storm is getting worse.
Looks like they turned off the SIF.
Great. Let's get to that emitter.
Go, Ninja, go, Ninja, go, 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 Ninja.
Every time we're out here, I half expect to see her in pieces again.
She's still got some scars on her. It adds character.
When I joined Starfleet,
that makes sense. I see why they're doing this, so that we're playing as one of the crew and not one of the crew to give us the perspective of both sides. That makes sense.
Sometimes it feels like we're just part of the machinery. Don't you want more than that? I mean, Starfleet is noble and all, but it's still a machine. A massive, massive machine.
I am more than that. And so are you. You wanted to get away. I enlisted because I didn't want to wait years just to get out and see the galaxies. I wanted to go somewhere. See new worlds. Look up at a sky no one's ever seen before. Just because I'm cranking a hyperspanner up in a Jeffries tube today doesn't mean that's all I'll ever be.
She's kinda cute.
I'm
glad they have Dax on board, or
acknowledged.
I guess you'd call it on board, yeah. Yeah, baby. Here we go. Here we go. What do we want? Calibration tool? I like it. Let's do this.
Beginning recalibration.
Looks like he's gonna spank her with it more than that. Okay. Right tune node move tool. Tune to center. Huh? Huh? Right trigger. Oh, I see.
Looks good.
Yay.
That wasn't so hard.
Get the shields up. Integrity fields. Back up.
Commander Westbrook, right? Chief Science Officer.
You remembered my name and my rank. Impressive.
Bitch.
Yes, I'm the Chief Science Officer, and I have the dubious honor of being the most senior officer on this bridge. I know this ship inside and out. Better than just about anyone.
Well, I'm so glad you said that. Now I know exactly who to turn to when I have questions.
Questions are more Commander Ermott's territory. Captain Solano primarily relies on my knowledge and expertise when he needs answers. I'm curious, though. A Kobliad, or half in your case, is an odd choice for first officer, given your vulnerable condition and all.
Fucking racist.
But if, as an example, we found ourselves in a hostile situation, and you were suddenly incapacitated because you needed an infusion, what would happen then? You'd leave Captain Solano without an XO.
What would happen?
Granted, that would be a worst-case scenario, but not outside the realm of possibility.
That's very kind of you to be concerned about my well-being. But you don't need to trouble yourself on my account. I'll be fine.
Well, I wouldn't say I was concerned, just curious, that's all. Listen, can I be blunt, Commander?
I see no reason to stop now.
Commander Sutherland, your predecessor, was one of the best first officers in all of Starfleet. His record was impeccable and his reputation was without equal.
Then why
I
is
mean
he
no
dead?
disrespect, but the shoes you're stepping into are almost impossible to fill. He was loved by the crew. And he was one of my closest friends. So I can only hope that you'll live up to expectations.
Mr. Westbrook, if you have some kind of problem with me, and you just met me so it has nothing to do with me, you're gonna have to figure out how to get over it. Because I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. Do you read me?
Loud and clear. I'll stick to science. That is what this ship is for.
Very well.
Yeah, that's gonna
Seeing
piss
as
him
Captain
off.
Solano is on the starbase,
Uh,
let me give you an update on this ion storm we're flying
Seems
into.
you got a neutral.
It's unusual, unlike anything I've ever seen. At the moment, I can't tell you if the Resolute will shrug it off or if we're putting ourselves at risk. However, if we learn more about its patterns, its nature, we can come up with a scientific countermeasure. Just a moment.
We've got
Someone's
a
gonna
massive
die.
energy wave inbound.
On screen.
We're gonna have to make a decision here.
Tracing its trajectory.
Starbase docking clamps are holding.
The storm's emissions are fluctuating, coming in waves. And if my projections are right, we're about to get hit by a wideband burst of ionic energy, like a tsunami.
I'm reading power abnormal.
Red alert.
Aye. Evacuating main gangway and retracting.
Putting sensor visualization on screen.
With the structural integrity field shut down, we can't take a direct hit.
Time to impact. 1 minute.
Shield systems are severely impacted. We have limited protection.
I need every available solution. What are our options?
We can weaken the impact of the storm with a deflector pulse.
There's a better way.
I'm sending all auxiliary power to the deflector dish.
Send the aux power to the shields. We can't reactivate the entire shield bubble, but it's a directional threat. So we can orient all we have towards the wave. You have to believe me.
We only get one shot at this. We can't afford to get it wrong.
That's right, which is why we need to send power to our shields.
Petrosian, get those shields up.
Rerouting power to shields. Stand by. I need a heading. We've only got one shot.
Understood. On my command.
Heading locked.
Raise shields.
This is it!
All hands, brace for impact.
don't say.
This radiation supercharged the plasma, forcing it to backflush through the system and creating a dangerous imbalance.
Blow out every primary system on the ship.
Just tell us where you need us.
I need you to traverse the hull to the access port to recalibrate the port nacelle plasma regulator.
We've reached the first access point.
Understood. Do you see the override for the level 1 failsafe circuits?
Affirmative.
Engage the override. It should allow us to stop the EPS flow to the warp engine without triggering an automatic core shutdown.
Failsafe override engaged.
Are you sure? I am registering some crosstalk in the bypass circuit.
We need to route the signals so they don't interfere with each other.
Diaz to Resolute. The failsafes are temporarily disabled. Moving on to the EPS regulator.
Heads up, Carter.
What is that?
One of the discharges coalesced.
It's coming right toward us. I'm gonna try to disrupt it with my phaser.
So we gotta climb up the pylon. Not that there's really an up, but, you know.
Yeah. Suit took most of it.
Why did she let me get hit?
That damaged your suit. Energy dampening is down to 60%. We're almost to the regulator.
Can I shoot her?
We're at the regulator. Opening the access panel.
And now halting the EPS flow to the port nacelle. We have little time before it causes an overload in the engine. You must work efficiently.
EPS manifold adjusters reset to neutral.
I don't know which one to do.
The EPS lines to the port warp engine are back in balance. Almost done. Once I cycle the manifold nozzles, Chovak can...
That seems odd. He gonna die before we even get out of port?
Get down! There's the bridge. We just lost the docking clamp. We've got a lot of debris coming down. Hull vibrations, too. We can't finish the EPS regulation in these conditions. Please advise.
We have to release this ship from that other docking clamp or the hull will be ripped apart.
There's a problem. The clamps are supposed to disengage automatically in an emergency, but it's not working.
Not working?
What are our options?
The docking clamps are fitted with exploding bolts for an emergency release.
We've got crew out there. That'd be like setting off a bomb next to them.
Maybe there's another way.
Starbase is hailing us.
Put him through.
Resolute, the remaining mooring arm is failing. You need to disengage from the starbase now. The damage to the station will be catastrophic.
We have crew outside and are looking for the
We
safest
have
way
people
to...
on this station. If that mooring arm breaks, we could lose dozens of crew.
Commander, hear me out. Reverse the polarity of the hull, which theoretically will repel the docking clamps.
And repel the engineering crew right off the hull into the storm.
This is Captain Solano. Put me on screen.
Go ahead. Captain, we have a situation.
Commander, what are you doing? Blow the bolts on the docking clamp.
The captain doesn't know the whole story.
I'm giving you an order. Chara?
Captain, you brought me here because you trusted me. Can you trust me now?
You better be sure you make the right decision.
The captain made himself quite clear.
They're gonna get hammered with debris out there. Reverse the polarity.
There is protocol.
And there are lives.
Starbase, stand by. We're gonna flip hull polarity to disengage the clamps.
Yes, Commander.
Repair crew, this is Acting Captain Jara Rydek. Be advised, we are going to reverse hull polarity to free us from the remaining docking clamp. Tether yourself and deactivate your boots on my mark.
Understood.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark!
Ah!
Grab my hand! I got you.
Thank you.
Plasma imbalance is reaching critical condition. We are moments from primary system failure.
I got it. Hurt and unconscious. I'm gonna have to tow her back to the airlock.
Mr. Diaz, the situation has changed. You are at risk of triggering a substantial electromagnetic arc to approach the main hull the way you came.
But Commander, the way we came is the nearest airlock.
There is an auxiliary hatch near you on the far end of the pylon. You must bring Miss Edselar there to access the interior.
Roger that. Going there now. I'm at the auxiliary hatch.
You go first.
What?
Let me save your neck this time. No time to fight me on this. Get in there!
Not on your life.
Let's not let it come down to that. We made it.
They're safe. Bringing the SIF fully online.
Do it.
Nilly.
I'm good. Help me with him.
Let's get this off. Medical. Got one wounded at my location. Carter. You don't look so good. You gotta be more careful. I just got here. I'm not ready to see you two get blown to space dust just yet. Now let's
Who
get
are
you down to
you?
sickbay.
Great.
Space amnesia.
Status report.
The repair crew made it inside. EPS flow is back to nominal levels. The SIF is back up.
How does this affect mission readiness, Mr. Ermot?
Releasing the docking clamps using hull polarity minimized damage to the Resolute. We'll have some last-minute repairs to make, but if we reapportion some of the staff, we can make our departure on time. As of now, however, we are successfully moored to the station.
Good to hear. Send updates to my ready room. Commander Rydek, with me.
He's gonna yell at me. He's gonna yell at me. You weren't in charge, bitch. I was.
You disobeyed my orders. Well?
Respectfully, Captain, I made the right choice given the information
You
I had.
disobeyed my orders! And not just in front of the bridge crew, but the Starbase staff as well. That's going to get around. My name's already tarnished around the fleet. But what is it going to do to my credibility on this ship?
I don't give
From the
a
top to the
fuck.
bottom. Bridge to lower decks.
Maybe I shouldn't have disobeyed a direct order. But you were wrong. You weren't on board, and you didn't have all the information. So I made the right decision for the ship. If you're worried about your credibility, put your ego aside and trust your crew. Trust me.
You might have won some fans on the bridge with that stunt, but not everyone. Lieutenant Commander Chovak has already bent my ear.
I'm sure he doesn't take it personally. He'll get over it in time.
Mr. Chovak is more complicated than he would want to admit. I guess we all are. And, If I'm being honest, I'm not sure what I would have done in the moment either. You never really know if you weren't in those shoes. So, let's just boil it down to you did what you had to. That'll have to be good enough for me.
Thank you for understanding, sir. I'm sure no one knows the burden of command as well as you do.
I'm sure you will, someday.
No, I saved my
Despite
fucking
it all,
crew.
we got
You
our
lost
final
yours.
Starfleet clearance to depart. So if you'll fetch Mr. Ermot, we'll knock out the final details of any outstanding repairs, and then we'll set out for Hotari.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I really like this so far. I wish there was a few more Kirk-style answers. There's not enough sass in the answers. Maybe that's because they don't think that would be her answers, but they should let me play how I want to play. They don't have to be asshole answers. They should still be Star Trek. They should just be more
We've got our full complement on board.
or Dr. McCoy.
Right now.
The start
Especially
of a
with
mission
this
is
guy.
always full
This
of
guy's
possibility.
such a goofy looking
The Orion
motherfucker.
Syndicate could sell it as a drug.
We definitely need some Dr.
Don't let the
McCoy.
Admiralty hear you say that.
It's also one of those games where like you want to put the controller down
Captain on the
because
bridge.
there's so much video and cutscene, but you have
Sit.
to have the controller in your
everyone.
hands to react right away, so it's kind of interesting.
You all know, I'm not big on speeches. We're embarking on the first mission since our refit. Let's make it a good one. Disengage docking clamps.
Docking
Odd
clamps
square
released.
lighting.
Thrusters
That
ahead,
could have been by
Commander.
design. Those chairs look so weird. They don't look Star Trek at all. Every time I see them, I think it's just trash or like building materials stacked up.
Set a course for the Hotari system.
That was a
Prepare to go
great
to war
shot.
base.
Hi, Captain.
Wow, that was cool.
You know what?
Love to see that in VR.
Me?
Yeah, baby.
Helm. Do it.
Yay! Why the fuck hasn't this been a game like 20,000 times over? Like, the Bridge Crew is okay, but it's VR only, and all the other games have not let you have this experience. Star Trek Online, this should be the fucking experience. Like, this should be it. I want to be on the...
Easy. Thank you. I'm fine. Really,
You don't look so good.
Haven't been to medical yet. It's red.
I have to get to sickbay.
Go.
Commander, help me get her inside.
I should be able to go days. It shouldn't be. I've only been here for 1 day. Come on. I already had an attack after 1 day. Her eyeballs are hot. She got some hot eyeballs.
Well, that was quite a scare. A few minutes more and it would have been one of the shortest tenures on record for a first officer.
Is that the engineer that was out on the hull?
That storm did a real number on him, but he'll live. Just needs rest. You should worry about yourself. Your deridium levels got dangerously low and destabilized your cell structure.
This is definitely one of the more memorable first days I can think of.
Why did they get so
My
low
name is
so
Dr.
fast? That
Aram
doesn't
Duval,
make sense.
Chief
I
Medical
also,
Officer.
I really hope that there's a
To be
like
honest, I've never
comedic
met a
character.
Kobliad before.
I've not seen any.
You're rare. I know.
Maybe
I
it's
was
the
going
like
to say
Guinan
special.
character.
Your people's numbers have dwindled, despite the Federation's efforts to find a more readily available alternative to the Duridium you need to survive. Yet you joined Starfleet and managed to thrive. I imagine the responsibility must be overwhelming. Maybe even a burden at times.
I know what it means. And I know the responsibility that comes with it. But I can't be anything more than who I am. And if someone has a problem with that, or expects something else, then that's their problem, not mine.
That's exactly right. And don't worry, I won't treat you like a science experiment. I just do the science and leave the experiments to Solano.
You don't agree with his methods?
I don't agree with his definition of acceptable risks. Not when the lives of your crew are at stake. My professional opinion is that the accident took a toll. More than he's willing to admit. He's overstressed, operating in the pressure cooker.
Her hair's fierce.
Which is never a good headspace.
Whoever did the hair for her, that's.
What concerns me is that now he's getting further away from the thing he's been chasing his entire career.
I'd love to see it like purple or red would be cool too.
Something he can put his name on. The more the time passes and the further out of reach it gets, the more risk he'll be willing to take. People become blinded by their own ambition. I've seen it happen before.
So
I hear you.
I'm Kirk. I
That's
don't
my
give
job,
a fuck about the captain.
To make sure that doesn't happen. And we don't lose sight of the
My
bigger
priority
picture.
is their ship and the crew.
I'm so glad you're here.
The sooner I can kick this old fart out and take his job, the better.
What happened on the bridge? It took guts to defy.
Maybe we could poison him.
Huh. I guess word travels fast.
Push him out of airlock.
It's a small ship, and everyone's curious about the new XO. Fortunately, your cell structure is almost completely stabilized. And I'll spare us both the lecture, but I do feel it's my responsibility to remind you, without regular infusions of Duridium, you will not live. It's as simple as that.
Understood.
Then, my work here is done.
It's an odd choice for them to put me in a character that needs daily injections. I don't know if
Lieutenant
that means
Bedrosian.
why that would
I came
be.
to see if you were okay. We were all
Also,
pretty worried on the bridge. No one knew what was happening.
I can't even imagine what it must have looked like. I don't want people
why
to
didn't
get
they
the
let
wrong
me go
impression.
check in on that other
No,
crew?
not at all.
The engineer.
You don't have to feel embarrassed.
I would have
Everyone
liked to have gone
understands
over
this
and
is part of
looked
what
and
it means
checked
to
on
be
him.
Kobliad.
Or
You
why
trusted me
didn't she
earlier
give me
with
a
the
status
shield,
about him too?
And I appreciated that. I want you to know that I have your back.
Thank you.
I wonder if they'll let me. Nope. Oh, there you go.
Now, Carter, the emissions that gave you that burn are quite unusual, like everything else that goes with this storm. That's the combination of hyronolin and lectrazine to counter the radiation effects. That should help speed your healing.
He hasn't said anything since.
Come by a couple of times to see you all.
Is he even normal? Is he human still?
Be brief.
Or is this some like alien?
It's good to see you awake again. I was starting to get worried. Not that you aren't in good hands with Dr. Duval. You did take one hell of a shot, though.
Ah, come on. You know you can't get rid of me that easy.
Don't push me, Diaz. You do not want to see me try.
No, nope. I am not getting on your bad side.
I am a formidable enemy. Millie was looking in on you too, by the way. But since it's just us right now, I had a chance to think about this while I was away. And I thought it was important that I just come out and tell you. Instead of tiptoeing around it. Or worse.
Now, this is just a guess, but you like me. Is that what this is?
How'd you know? Must have been pretty obvious. Which is funny because kinda came out of nowhere for me at first.
Well,
yeah, because I'm such a douchebag.
I was hoping.
I guess that makes this a little easier to say. We've been really good friends for a long time. I want to see if there's more between us than just being friends.
You don't have to explain it.
Interesting. We're leading right into a relationship, which is interesting.
So, do you want to find out what that something is?
Ooh, yeah. Can we get a DNA test?
It's there for me. Why not give it a try?
Are you kidding me? I just said yes.
I wanted to be sure I heard that right.
Sorry to interrupt, but the patient needs to rest if he wants to get back to his old self.
Of course. I'll see you again soon.
Slap her. You gotta send her mixed messages. You gotta keep her on her toes. Set her hair on fire. I'm worried about this scar on his face. That's bugging me. That's not good.
Approaching the rendezvous point outside Atari space.
Helm, bring us out of warp.
Dropping to impulse.
A Bajoran, kind of
Ionic
interesting.
interference surging, Captain.
Shield integrity holding. We can take it.
We are at the correct coordinates to meet the shuttle.
Commander Rydek, find us our diplomat, if you will.
Aye, Captain. Let's reduce the noise. Filter out environmental signals. I can manually tune what's left for Federation signal types. I've located the shuttle.
Opening comms.
On screen.
Shuttle to Resolute. Shuttle to Resolute. Debris field. Lost maneuvering. Losing.
I can't get it any clearer.
We won't get a transporter lock. It's just not happening.
Power up the tractor beam. We'll pull them directly into the docking bay.
Diaz, you good to run the tractor emitter?
Yes, sir.
You sure?
I'm sure.
How is he back to work already? What?
Come on, Diaz.
Why can't he do it?
First thing, lock onto the shuttle and stabilize the rotation.
Seems pretty stable.
We're pulling in debris.
I'm on it. That's gonna take out the shuttle. Diaz, the bridge. There's a large piece of debris headed for the shuttle. The tractor beam can't handle it.
Can our shields take it?
I believe so.
Commander Rydek, plot an intercept course.
On it. Here we go. Maneuvering thrusters bearing 53 Mark 17. 200 meters on an intercept course.
Maneuvering.
Got it.
Whoa! Someone's working hard on the bridge.
Then you just drop them. Oops!
We got the shuttlecraft on board.
Good job. We're on our way down to meet them.
Is he gonna be a love interest?
Terra firma, so to speak.
Ambassador Spock.
How did they do that with him dead?
The captain will be right down to meet you, sir.
In that case, I will wait for him here.
Can I just not say anything?
Well, let me be the first to say, welcome to the Resolute, Ambassador.
Thank you, Petty Officer...
Carter? Carter Diaz. Sir.
I am pleased to meet you, Petty Officer Carter Diaz. It appears I have you to thank for my safe arrival. Your assistance arrived not a moment too soon, if I may say so.
You're very welcome, sir. I'm glad we could get you here in one piece.
Indeed. We thought we were prepared for our arrival in Hotari space, but it is evident my craft was not sufficiently robust for such intense ionic activity.
The storm has been pretty intense.
There was an element that was most unusual. Before you came to our aid, our maneuvering thrusters and impulse engines were rendered inoperable. So we attempted a short traversal at warp speed, only to find that we could not achieve warp at all, even though our diagnostics computer showed no faults or anomalies. What do you make of that? When all indications say that warp speed is possible, but in practice, we find it is not.
Well, this storm is one of the strangest phenomena we've ever encountered. It's disrupted other systems. Who knows what it might do to a warp drive?
Yes, it would seem further investigation is called for.
Take readings, run some additional diagnostic checks, and we'll get to the bottom of this.
Quite logical, Petty Officer Diaz. Thank you.
Ambassador Spock.
Excuse me.
I'm honored to have you aboard. I'd like to get right to it. We're already behind.
Oh, wow. So we upped our relationship with Spock. That's pretty cool. Okay, so let's see. I don't see where it, like, tells me how our relationship is, though. Oh, it just says was impressed. Okay. So it's not a number or some. Okay, that makes sense. It's just. Okay, yeah, that's kind of cool. What war? We're a science ship.
Ambassador Spock, my senior staff.
Is Spock gonna be our love interest? That'd be
gets
funny.
To welcome a Starfleet legend aboard.
You flatter me, Captain Solano. But legend implies the past tense, whereas I am very much focused on our present circumstances.
I didn't mean to suggest you were stuck in the past. You're right, Ambassador. Not the most diplomatic choice of words.
You are a legend, Ambassador. There's not an officer in Starfleet that doesn't know of your career.
I would never assume that to be the case.
We were hoping you could fill us in on the details. We got the basics from Starfleet. Two formerly peaceful neighbors are now on the brink of war.
Indeed, and the tension between them grows fiercer by the hour. Ilidia and Hotari. Ilidians are the more advanced species. They made first contact with the Hotari over a century ago. This is Tau, the Hotari moon. It is rich in dilithium, and for decades, the Hotari and the Ilidians have shared a mining operation there. The Ilidians provide the technological resources, while the Hotari have served as the labor force. The stability of that arrangement was the source of their peace, until recently. The Hotari have suddenly and forcefully seized control of the mining operations and expelled the Ilidians from their system. That is the official story, as told by the Hotari when they requested Federation mediation. But the details remain scant. Communications between all parties have been limited by the ionic interference.
How is it the Hotari were able to turn the tables and take the mines against superior forces, especially after decades in this arrangement?
Unclear. The answer to that question may be the key to a new, lasting peace, and one that I hope we can uncover during these negotiations. But it is unlikely the relatively primitive Hotari forces would stand a chance against the Ilidian fleet if this escalates to open war. Left unchecked, this conflict will result in more bloodshed, which is what we are here to prevent.
And the dilithium trade hangs in the balance.
Clearly the Hotari have been exploited in this relationship.
Maybe we can persuade them peace is the more profitable alternative for everyone. They both profited from the mines. And for the Hotari, something is better than nothing. Peace is our objective, after all.
That is correct.
If we could convince them, it would restore the peace. But we would need the Hotari to accept a difficult compromise.
Made all the more difficult by the emotions flaring on both sides, no doubt.
Neither the Ilidians or the Hotari are members of the Federation, so we can't make them do anything.
There is an additional complicating factor I should mention. In the past, the Federation has relied on the Ilidians as a source of dilithium.
That certainly changes things.
Federation sources its dilithium from a lot of places.
Yeah, and this is one of them.
So we've already played a part in this.
Unfortunately, that is indeed the case, Commander Rydek.
We're morally obligated to make this right.
Hold on. Our only obligation is to negotiate the peaceful resolution of this conflict.
Given the Federation's involvement in the Ilidium dilithium trade, Captain Solano and I must make every effort to appear neutral in these negotiations.
What worries me is if this whole thing unravels, and we're at the mercy of the storm at less than full strength.
We can't let it come to that.
Considering what the Ion Storm has done to our ship, and the Ambassador's shuttle, We have to assume the Elydian fleet has had problems with it as well. This recent surge in the energy disturbance temporarily levels the playing field.
Commander Westbrook is correct. The energy anomalies around the Hotari systems have been noted in the past. But they have never been observed on the orders of magnitude we have seen in recent weeks.
That may answer why the Hotari were able to strike back after so long. They finally had an opportunity, and they took it.
That would also explain the Elydians' restraint.
And reason to learn as much about the energy anomaly as we can while we are here. We do not want to be caught at a disadvantage of our own. So I trust we understand our circumstances.
We're operating on a strict timetable here, and we're going to be leaving for the
I get
negotiations shortly.
it's
Commander
a
Westbrook, I
good
want you to leverage our
old-fashioned
systems
Star
to
Trek
investigate
mission.
the anomaly from here while we're gone.
No bullshit, woke shit.
Thank you all.
Dismissed.
I want to speak to both of you privately.
Yeah, baby. Threesome with
Ambassador
Spock? Oh,
I'd like to
I'd
make
do
a
it.
formal introduction. My first officer, Commander Jara Rydek.
Commander, as you are aware, there are limits to what Captain Solano and I can do in our official capacity as representatives of the Federation. But someone in an unofficial capacity, your first officer, for example, would not be bound by those restrictions. Commander Rydek could ingratiate herself to certain parties behind the scenes, where they may be more candid in revealing information that could lead to a resolution.
She certainly goes her own way. Maybe that helps in this case. It would be unconventional, but I'm not opposed to it.
I'm perfectly happy to work outside the lines.
And by extension, you will be doing your duty, Commander.
Just not too far outside the lines. Well, I hope Commander Rydek will have more luck finding out what really happened than we will through official diplomatic channels.
Like I said, I wonder if I can poison the captain. Can I work so far outside the lines that I can get rid of this motherfucker? Me and Spock could take over the Federation. Yeah, baby. Wait, is she
Mr.
supposed to be
Diaz,
my love
I understand
interest?
you have already discussed the warp drive failure with Ambassador Spock?
I have.
It is imperative that the Ambassador's shuttle be flight ready. I need you both to ascertain the root cause of the system failures he encountered.
I'm surprised, Commander.
Shit, yeah, is she supposed to be my love interest, and I already started to commit to the other chick? Maybe
but I
can
do not derive any
maybe
satisfaction from interacting with his shuttle as if it were somehow transubstantiated through its association with him. Especially when I have the entirety of this starship to concern myself with. I am not the chief engineer of this shuttlecraft.
When you look at it logically, yes, it is just a shuttle. No different than any of the others.
There is plenty that is different about it, and that is what you are to investigate. But please limit your findings to observable scientific phenomena.
We'll try to restrain ourselves.
Then I will leave you to it. Make note of any abnormalities in your report. Carry on.
It seems like he's warming up to us.
Yeah.
Even Chovok has to look at that face and know you've earned some real respect. And I have to admit that I owe you one. You were right to make me go first. I don't know what I was thinking. You did the smart thing.
Yeah, I did pretty great out there. So don't you forget it.
I have a feeling you won't let me forget it.
I'm not gonna have to do a damn thing to it.
Come on. Let's get to the bottom.
Yeah, I actually like her better than the other chick. Get a little Dax in my life.
Ready to go?
All set. Let's run the diagnostic.
Oh, really? They're gonna let me actually run the systems. That's kind of cool. I mean,
So-
everything's just do what it says on the
I
screen.
know about your
but...
talk with Miranda.
You do?
She sent me a Priority 1 dispatch right after your conversation.
Damn.
I'm happy for you. Both of you.
Thanks.
But you wanted
But
me?
I'm only going to tell you this once. Don't screw this up. Because I would be very unhappy if you tried this out and then, I don't know, 6 weeks or 6 days later, I have to start splitting holidays between the two of you. All because things went south and you're not on speaking terms. That just isn't gonna work for me.
You really don't believe in me, huh?
It's not you. Or her. Just running the numbers, and things don't work out more often than they do. I like my friends, and I like our group. I don't want to lose that. Is that thing done yet?
Yeah, it's wrapping up. Let's see. The relays along the primary EPS are blown. The backup relays are all intact.
An EPS overload from the warp drive could cause that. But how did the shuttle end up dead in the water?
Huh. Well, maybe the ship's data recorder can tell us something. Here.
They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point. No faults, just those warnings. What are they?
Subspace variance out of tolerance. What does that mean?
It means the main navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code.
The warp field became inverted suddenly.
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look.
He's got those 2 fingers ready to go.
Warp cascade failure.
You need a finger in that thing.
They're lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
Makes me think the computer panicked on the warp field equation.
Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
If it was caused by a system failure.
None of this caused the relays to blow. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
They're all the same. Subspace variance out of tolerance, or warp inversions. Finally, there's a complete warp cascade failure.
Then it's one of 2 things. Either a warp coil is cracked, or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
Divide and conquer. You want to check the warp coils or the navigation array? I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
I'll check the navigation array. Navigation array checks out, so it must be a coil.
Except it's not. Checked and double-checked.
Well, the readings don't lie.
Here comes the security detail for the way team.
Hey, baby.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm not here.
We're escorting the negotiating team to the surface as soon as they come down from the bridge.
She's gonna die.
I don't want to interrupt some important work. I was just hoping to see you before I go.
Kiss
The captain
her.
and the others will be here any minute now. Should be an interesting ride down to the surface.
Come on, I'm never too busy to make time for you.
That's not true.
I got you, boo.
But I am glad you came by.
No, that's more accurate.
I'm a liar.
I gotta be precise with you, huh?
Hey, Maris. Aren't these those button pushers you're always hanging out with?
And you're the phaser jockeys we always beat in Parisi squares, right?
All aboard for
I love
Hotari.
it. Phaser jockey.
That another one of the captain's railroad things?
Gotta be. I just usually zone out by the time he gets to the whole steam engines where the warp drives of their day part. Catch y'all later.
You don't want to miss your train.
Scrub. Kiss her. Kiss her.
I do have to go.
Kiss her. Kiss her.
Not gonna lie, I'd rather not leave right now.
Bow, 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 bow. On deck in front of everybody. Fuck you all. Oh, wait. Do I get to... I keep wanting to put the controller
That
down.
was nice.
I was worried.
Yeah, it was.
We gonna get in trouble?
Save some of that for when I get back.
You've got a deal.
While on duty.
Be
She's
seeing
gonna die. They're gonna kill her. I don't know her last name. Why are they
Large
leaving in a
VR.
shuttle? Shuttles are
If you can
bad.
float back down to reality, we still have a ways to go.
We don't know why this shuttle stopped working. And you guys just left in a
All right,
shuttle? Are you guys
where were we?
idiots?
So, the warp coils in the navigation array are fine, but the nav computer doesn't seem to think so.
I'm out of ideas short of field stripping the shuttle from bow to stern.
You wanna take this out of the shuttle and throw it on the bench?
Oh, real hands-on maintenance. I like it. Okay, the nav computer is patched into the ship.
The ship's computer can double-check our work.
No.
The shuttle's nav computer's putting out false data. We'll know
No.
Let's run through the shuttle's logs again.
What if it
Running
infects the
now.
computer?
Same. Warp field inversion and a cascade failure. However, the Resolute computer doesn't show the same subspace variance.
We're in the same conditions that the shuttle was in when it failed. Why wouldn't the ship's computer get a matching result?
What if the subspace variance was a momentary occurrence?
That's a possibility, and it would explain why the simulation under our current sensor readings failed to reproduce the issue.
But a subspace anomaly strong enough to cause a warp field collapse would leave graviton ripples for days.
Let's run with the momentary subspace variance theory for now. Roll forward to the shuttle's attempt to re-engage the warp drive. We need the conditions of space around the shuttle at the moment of warp failure.
Resuming simulation.
Error in warp field calculation. Cochrane formula variables are out of range.
That right there. Take the shuttle sensor data from that moment.
Computer, why did the warp field calculation fail?
Warp field pressure returned non-orthogonal. Results are undefined.
That doesn't help.
Wait, what if we use a different ship?
Put the Resolute into the simulation instead of the shuttle.
Yeah, it should warp just fine. Unless... Computer, run the simulation with the Resolute.
Resolute simulated.
Computer, give me manual control on the warp power.
Static field intensity 3, warp 1.1. 1.2. Warp pressure is destabilizing. Error in warp field calculation. The warp drive has experienced a system-wide cascade failure. Warp field collapsed. Subspace variance is out of tolerance. Cochrane formula results are undefined.
Bingo.
What-o?
The same moment when the shuttle failed to warp, so did the ship. Whatever happened to the shuttle just happened to us. The Resolute will not sustain warp.
We can't leave Hotari space.
Were either of us on the way mission? Are we gonna play a third character? Oh, okay, we were. I wasn't paying attention. If neither of them are members of the Federation,
welcome to Hotari. We are honored you've come.
Isn't it really dangerous we're here?
Minister of Diplomatic Affairs.
The honor is ours, and this is Commander Jara Rydick, first officer aboard the USS Resolute. You'll find she has a keen mind and unique insight into the dynamics between the Hotari and the Lydians.
We are honored to be here as representatives of the Federation.
I'm so glad.
These must be the representatives of the mighty Federation, the reigning authority in the galaxy. Or so we've been led to believe. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen. But either way, we're grateful you've made the time to come to our little corner of the universe.
And you are?
This is Galvin, and this is Citron, the heroes of the revolt in the mines.
Let's hope this is the last time we ever have to come here.
If you'll excuse me.
I think we're about to begin.
Shit's gonna get serious now.
I don't know what we're walking into here, but that guy was something.
Something about his tone tells me this won't be easy.
That was my sense as well.
I doubt he speaks for all of Hotari, so I would urge patience until we speak with their queen.
The fact that Spock's going along is cool. I'm not sure I feel good about them using him when he's gone, but it's kind of an odd thing. I hadn't really thought about it before. I didn't expect him to be in it at all. I didn't really know anything about it, so I don't know what time frame this is. Show difference, show strength.
Ambassador Spock, welcome to Hotari Prime.
The honor is mine, Your Majesty.
That the Federation would send one of their most respected representatives is not only an honor to the Hotari people and their queen, but a recognition of our stature and importance.
Let's get on with it, shall we? With all due respect to the Federation and their ambassador, they have no authority here. We are not members of their alliance. We are not subject to their rules.
I love this. This is great.
Nor yours. We demand the immediate return of all mining operations to Lydian control, as it has been for centuries and will be for centuries more. That has always been our understanding.
That understanding has changed.
Then you invite war!
And if you cannot remain silent, you will be silenced. But his point is well taken. What is the Federation's interest in this matter? Perhaps you would have us trade one oppressor for another?
The Federation remains neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution of this conflict. We are here at your request, Your Majesty.
For now.
Saying this wouldn't be easy was an understatement. I thought they wanted us here.
Was there something you wanted to say, Captain?
Oh, no. My apologies.
And what about the Kobliad?
She's not part
She
of...
can speak for herself, can't she? Then let her.
Uh-oh. Now it's on. I haven't made up my mind which way I want to go here.
Now then.
She's quite handsome.
One should know their place. What you might be somewhere else is not what you are here. Which is standing before a queen. And a queen deserves respect. A bow is not too much to ask. Is Hotari Prime, heart of the Hotari system.
My apologies, Your Majesty. I meant no disrespect.
Better. You are Kobliad. Your people suffered brutal treatment at the hands of the Cardassians. Their injustice towards the Kobliad is as unimaginable as it is unforgivable. Not unlike how we have been treated by the Elidians.
As much as they'd have you believe they are the victims here, remember it was the Hotari who attacked us. Hundreds of innocent Elidians were slaughtered without mercy in those mines.
The blood is on their hands, not ours!
Quiet! If after all the Kobliad suffered, you finally had the chance to right that wrong, to get out from under their control, would you take it? Or would you negotiate a peace?
I can't speculate on something that never happened, Your Majesty. Sadly, that opportunity never came for the Kobliad.
No, it did not. But we'd be wise to learn from their example, before we too find ourselves facing extinction. The Federation is the most powerful, most advanced alliance in the galaxy. It's widely known we have an abundance of dilithium in our mines. And it's in your interest to secure a steady supply.
Your Majesty, if I may.
Ambassador Spock would have us believe you're here as a neutral party in the interest of peace. So why are you really here? I want the truth, not your Federation rhetoric.
It's possible the Federation has an interest in both peace and securing a steady source of dilithium. One does not preclude or prevent the other. But that's just my personal opinion.
Given the Federation has done business with the Elidians for decades, I would agree. It's entirely possible, if not highly likely.
What they haven't said, but cannot deny, is a simple truth. The dilithium trade would not and will no longer exist without Elidian involvement. We created it for the benefit of everyone, especially the Hotari. We've given them warp technology. We've let them share in the profits. We've made their lives infinitely better than before dilithium was discovered. All of that goes away if the Federation turns a blind eye to their treachery.
That is enough of your lies! The Hotari are quite capable of running the mines. We've done so for centuries. So tell me, who deserves control of the dilithium trade and the mines on Tau? Who should the Federation recognize? The Hotari or the Alidians? It can only be one or the other, not both.
If there can only be one, then it would be in the best interest of all involved if the Alidians resumed operation of the mines.
And that is why we should not trust our fate to the Federation.
She speaks sense. You do well to listen to her.
And you do well to hold your tongue.
We will take back our minds by any means necessary.
And you will see more blood spilled.
I am more than willing to address your concerns, Your Majesty. Yours as well, Representative. But I suggest we could have a more productive conversation with a smaller group. Perhaps only the most essential representatives.
I would agree, Ambassador Spark. I think this is best left to those of us with more experience in diplomatic matters.
Did I fail that? I tried, man. I'm sorry. They gave me neutral for those two, but nothing else for the others. So he gave me.
Spock
He
and I
didn't give
will
me any
cover
hints.
everything on the diplomatic front. You make nice with the locals and see if you can get some answers. We need to find out why the Hotari are so willing to risk war. What happened in those mines?
It's only gonna be here though. I was hoping that we'd actually like go into their city and stuff. That'd be cool. Can I walk in the water?
Soothing.
Yeah, it is a pretty dry place. Can I not talk to him? I'd really like to talk to... I mean, I guess I have to talk to all three.
Commander, after hearing so much about the Federation's sense of fairness and justice, I was surprised that you sided with the Alidians. In all honesty, I expected more, especially from someone like you.
To be clear, I'm not on either side of this conflict. Our only interest is peace.
On the Alidians' terms, apparently.
I assume you were there, the day the mines were seized from the Alidians.
Not seized. Reclaimed. And restored to their rightful owners. Yes, I was there. We had to be decisive. Before the Alidians could even realize their worst nightmares upon them.
I'm curious why the Alidians haven't fought back. They have the ability to retake the mines anytime they want.
Ability is one thing. Courage is another. The Alidians know any hostile action on their part will not end well. They respect one thing above all else, and that is force. The greater the force, the more certain the outcome. Any talk of making peace is just that, and worth little without the strength to secure it. Which makes me wonder about your ship, the Resolute. Undoubtedly the Federation's finest warship. Ready to contend with anything the Alidians might have in store. Or is that not true? Maybe I've misjudged it.
No need to worry. Even in a worst-case scenario, the fleet is always within reach.
But it would probably take them quite some time to get here.
Maybe. Or we might have other ships in the sector.
Of course.
Sidron.
A pleasure meeting you, Commander. I'm sure we'll cross paths again.
I'm gonna pee really quick. Okay, man, I don't know how we're gonna solve this problem in this moment.
Commander Rydek, I have to admit, I was surprised when you said the Illidians should control the dilithium trade. I was under the assumption the Federation was neutral, but maybe I was wrong.
We came to help negotiate a peace, not for business. And I can assure you, we have no interest in dilithium.
Everyone has an interest in dilithium. But I trust a peaceful resolution serves all our interests. I saw you speaking with Sidron, our national hero. I'm curious, what did he say?
He seems to be of the opinion that negotiating for peace is a waste of time.
Because force is the only blunt instrument he understands. He's a miner, not a diplomat. For the first time in our history, the Hotari have the upper hand. We see ourselves as strong instead of downtrodden. New voices have risen up. Old voices shouted down. Galvin and Sidron have become national heroes. Now, they have the Queen's ear. Better or worse, depending on your perspective.
I take it they're against a negotiated peace with the Illidians.
Heroes tend to want more of what made them heroic. If it were up to them, they'd wage all-out war and bring ruin upon us all. My fear has been that the Illidians will launch an attack and crush us. You've seen
It looks good for how the game's not very big,
mines whenever they wanted to.
the textures look great for the most part.
And
the characters look a lot better than the building textures, which is a little odd to me.
Don't know what they're afraid of.
The building
Still the
textures
same
seem
bluster
to
and
be...
bravado you would expect from them. But it has no teeth. Like they're afraid of what might happen.
Was it for fear of the repercussions, once the Federation became part of the equation?
Possibly. But I almost want to say this was from the very start. Before engaging the Federation was even on the table. Since the day of the revolt, Galvin has seized control of the mines and restricted all access. No one's allowed without his personal authorization. And they've taken over a section of the palace with just as much secrecy and security. I'm told it could be something they brought back from the mines. I made inquiries, but everyone pretends it doesn't exist. I strongly suspect they're hiding something.
What do you think it is?
I've heard rumors it's some sort of ancient artifact, but I haven't seen it myself.
How can we know?
I'd better see what's happening.
Do you think you can find out what they're hiding? I need to see proof of something before I can make my case to the Federation.
I can try, but even if I found it, I might not know what to make of it.
Take this. You can use it to capture whatever you find, and then send it to me.
Thank you.
Nice.
I will let you know what I find. And I look forward to our meeting again.
Sorry, I don't mean to bother you, but I couldn't help but notice you were speaking with the Hotari this whole time. I figured it might be useful if I offered another perspective.
Of course.
I have to say, I fully expected you to side with the Hotari, but obviously the Federation wants a steady supply of dilithium. Something only we can offer. Without a Lydian involvement, there is no dilithium trade. Left to the Hotari, it would be nothing short of a disaster.
We're not on either side. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution to this conflict.
Was actually why I chose
As is
it.
ours. Of course, the question is, at what price?
I like
A Major Solid Arminta, Special
this
Attaché
alien.
of the Lydian Armed Forces.
He's cool looking.
A pleasure to meet
His
you.
outfit.
Commander Ryder.
I love the purple.
First Officer, USS Resolute.
Yes. A research ship, if I'm not mistaken. Interesting.
How does he
I
know
have
it's a
my
research
issues
ship
with the Hotari,
when
but
the
I
other
have
guy
to give them
didn't?
some credit. They know how to seize an opportunity. Inciting an uprising the same day as a massive, once-in-a-lifetime ion storm.
Our assumption was that this storm was just an anomaly.
Yes, a very convenient anomaly. At least that was what we were told. Of course, I wasn't there. But who am I to say otherwise?
Something tells me there's more to the story. So what really happened?
Well, the official story is that it was the storm that enabled the revolt. How else do a bunch of unarmed, unorganized miners seize control of an entire moon, much less thousands of mine? But I've talked to people who were there. They tell a different story. They say they're lucky to have escaped with their lives. That it was more than just the storm. That somehow the miners were able to harness the energy from the storm. I know it sounds crazy. I'm not even sure I believe it myself. But that's what they said.
You just answered your own question. How do a group of miners do something that in theory can't be done? That's how. Harnessing the storm.
But even if it's true, how does that even happen?
You tell me.
If you'll excuse me, Commander Ryder.
Yeah, the only thing that seems out of place to me is it just feels like the characters are better quality.
They seem proud of their culture.
Than the walls are.
Pride can lead to rash action.
But so can a lack of pride as well.
Well, that was a disaster.
What happened?
The Hotari refused to concede anything, so the Elydians stormed out.
The Hotari did not invite us here as peacekeepers. I hope your efforts were more fruitful than ours.
Gravitational harmonics failing to resolve. Warp bubble stability degrading. Increase output to maximum.
Increasing warp output to maximum.
It's happening again.
It is evident that presently, the Resolute cannot achieve warp propulsion.
Since our diagnostics rule out any problems with our warp systems or anything about the ship, the problem appears to be the fabric of space itself.
Space itself? You're saying something about this region of space prevents warp travel?
Prevents it, but can't sustain it.
However improbable, that appears to be the case.
We need to know more.
The storm didn't stop us from leaving space dock and traveling here. But could it still be causing this interference with warp travel?
We must follow sound investigatory principles. Do not let an assumed conclusion drive your analysis.
Sometimes we need a little inspired thinking, Mr. Chovak. Captain Solano is on his way back from the negotiations, and I want to have some answers for him when he gets here.
Indeed. Given the facts at hand, we may be able to deploy subspace probes around the ship to construct a clear picture of the phenomenon.
Around the ship. I'll prep a shuttle.
But shuttles are having problems right now, you motherfucker. Why are we going out in a shuttle? Shuttles have issues. You guys are dumbasses.
I'm setting up a waypoint at a distance roughly corresponding to the edge of our warp field. When we get there, I'll deploy the first probe.
Commander Westbrook, the Resolute systems are calibrated to receive the probe's readings. We are standing by to reproduce the warp field collapse after the first probe is deployed.
Thank you, Mr. Chovak. We'll be in position shortly.
And, Mr. Diaz, do take care in piloting the shuttlecraft. Now is not the time to indulge in the human penchant for joyriding.
Chovak probably isn't such a fun guy to work for, huh?
Nah, Lieutenant Commander Chovak's not so bad. You know, once you get used to him. And, I've learned a lot working under him.
I have a feeling I'm going to have to work harder. Be a political animal like you. This new first officer coming aboard.
Damn, yeah, I mean, this is kind of cool, so I'm actually having to keep it on. I'm just having to move it a little.
This is far enough.
Nice. I hate when they make you, like, stop in a box or something. Just let me get there and then deal with it, you know?
Westbrook here. The first probe is deployed.
Understood. We are reading it. We are about to replay the simulation.
Problem?
just can't get a handle on her. Commander Rydek. She rejected my plan to use a deflector pulse against the storm surge. But on the other, she did listen to my advice and use the whole polarity trick to get you through that excursion alive. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the new XO. I'm sure she's a fine officer, even if we don't see eye to eye. But she didn't go through what the rest of us did. You know that. And it's hard to figure out why she'd be the one Solano chose instead of, well, one of us.
I've heard some good things. You should at least give her a chance.
I'll take that under advisement.
Test is running. Warp field collapse in 3, 2, 1, mark.
Whoa. All right, that is definitely a problem with the fabric of space. We need to get another probe out there. With 2 points of data, the Resolute and the probe, we've managed to get an interference pattern. I'm setting a waypoint to a particularly strong area of interference. We'll deploy the second probe there. Listen, I'm gonna give you a piece of advice I wish someone had given me. Make sure you're never just one thing. And don't get so focused on what's in front of your face that you lose sight of the big picture. Before Rydek showed up, the captain pulled me into his ready room and told me he didn't think I had the people skills to be first officer. What a load of crap. I mean, if he'd said that about Chovak, sure.
I appreciate the advice, Commander. I'll make sure I keep my options open.
I don't need to tell you how to operate. You're already well on your way. You're a capable engineer. You're good in the field. Keep up the good work, and who knows? Solid jack of all departments like you could be Commander-in-Chief of Starfleet one day. Hell, Admiral Jellicoe started as a shuttle pilot. And there are places to go in the enlisted ranks, too. Of course, if you get an officer's commission, they'll put you on another ship.
You know, I'd be the best leader Starfleet ever had. Lower decks always have to fix all the problems command causes. Maybe I'd just save everybody some steps.
Well, don't forget about us little people when you're running things.
Of course not. You gotta remember where you came from.
Here, this is close enough.
Yeah, baby.
Stop the engines. Deploying the probe. Westbrook to Commander Chovak. We're ready for another sampling of data.
Very good. Running the simulation again. Warp field collapse in 3, 2, 1, mark.
There it is again.
I saw it. It seems to be directional.
Well, what about the scans? Anything?
Here's the readings in relation to our local space. We've got the Resolute, Otari Prime, and the probes.
All this interference is overloading the sensor buffers. We're gonna have to triangulate the sensors manually. We got something.
These markers indicate peaks in the gravimetric interference patterns.
Let's see if I can find some more. Hold up. This is coming from the moon.
A beam that blocks warp travel.
Aimed right at us.
Someone is doing this intentionally. I don't know how they're doing it. This is like nothing I've ever seen.
We're under attack and we didn't even know it. We need to stop them. Unplug whatever it is they're hitting us with.
Now, look here. It's our current readings of the ion storm.
These concentrations. They line up with the interference pattern. The storm and this beam, they're coming from the same place.
Carter, whatever petty local conflict brought us here, It's just a small part of something much bigger. Presently, we don't have an explanation for how they're doing this. One thing is clear. This is no fluke.
Thank you, Mr. Westbrook. I want a full briefing when I'm back on board. Solano out. A targeted weapon that inhibits warp travel. Coming from the moon Tau.
That would explain the difficulties my shuttle encountered. More importantly, the tenor of the Hotari during the negotiations.
And here I thought the Elydians would be the problem. Coming to peace talks in a warship. This wasn't supposed to be so complicated.
We're right to be worried. If they're targeting the Resolute and we can't go to warp, that effectively leaves us at their mercy.
Which puts us in a rather difficult position.
Especially if they have more tricks up their sleeve.
Tylus, the Hotari representative, said she thought they found something in the mines. Galvin and Sidron brought it back to the palace, but they're keeping it under tight security. She's going to investigate it. I gave her my tricorder. I expect she'll contact us soon.
You found an ally.
Why would Tylus help us? Go behind her people's back? It's a fair question, considering.
She's worried that her people are being dragged into something that isn't going to end well for them. She's trying to save them.
That may be true.
She's certainly more likely to help than the other Hotari we've met.
That raises another question. Specifically, what do the other Hotari have to gain in bringing us here, only to make this hostile maneuver against us? There must be some motivation.
Unless they changed their minds between when they asked and when we got here.
Given their indifference to the negotiations, and what we now know about this warp-disrupting weapon, it's almost as if they want to start a war. And Sidron was convinced the only thing the Elydians respect is force.
I would say he's right about that. But at least they know when to hold back.
But that does not explain why they would turn their aggressions against us.
I don't think the Elydians know what's really down on that moon either.
Major Arminta said the revolt defied explanation. That the Hotari miners somehow harnessed the energy of the storm.
Harness the energy of the storm?
Doing that is beyond even our capabilities.
So is a weapon that disrupts warp travel.
There have been civilizations and entities, both past and present, far more technologically advanced than the Federation.
The Elydians and Hotari don't fall into that category.
But that is all the more reason to investigate further.
Commander Rydek, sorry to interrupt. We've received an urgent call from Hotari. The Queen's advisor, Tylus, has asked to speak with you.
Put her through.
Galvin and Sidron are still with the Queen. I've enlisted help to gain access to the room they have under guard. I don't have much time.
I'm not supposed to leave my post.
It's only for a moment. I so appreciate your help.
I found something. I'm sending you a scan.
Got it. Tylus, if we needed to gain access to the mines on Tau, is that something you could help us with?
I suppose it wouldn't be easy, but I have to go.
Tylus.
Can we reconnect?
Sorry, Captain. We've lost all contact.
We can only hope she escaped without harm.
It was hard to tell.
Tylus wouldn't have offered to help if she didn't know what she was doing.
That's a lot of faith in someone we barely know. Let's see the scan of whatever the hell that was.
Tylus suspects this came from the mines on Tau.
It appears to be of ancient origin, but the markings are unfamiliar.
We can run a full analysis when we get back to the Resolute. But if this came from the mines, then it might be the key to how they got the upper hand against the Lydians.
Then we have to go into the mines.
The Federation would not allow that. We're, after all, sent here to be a neutral party in a peace negotiation. However, we could demonstrate that the Hotari have acted in bad faith, which would enable us to investigate the mines on Tau with full justification. But of course, we would need conclusive proof before taking action. Otherwise, it could put us in a difficult position.
If this warp disruption attack isn't enough justification, I don't know what is. We have every right to defend ourselves.
In due time.
I don't want to escalate this without a better idea of what we're getting into.
We may have a better understanding once we analyze the device. But a mission to the mines, covert or otherwise, is not out of the question. And I will handle the Federation.
Damn.
As I was telling Carter, I want all the data I can get on this warp problem. And the negotiating team's shuttle has been recording data all the way back from Hotari. Even better than our probes. So pull the sensor and engine ISOs from the Melville when it sets down.
Will do.
I'll join you and Chovak down in engineering to run another analysis after the briefing.
I didn't like this warp problem when we thought it was some astronomical anomaly. And I like it a hell of a lot less now that we know someone is doing it to us. How does it work? What do we even do about it?
What do you say we pull these chips and find out?
Took some damage on the way. That ionic interference scored the hull plating. Might be some micro welds. Let's try pulling together.
All right.
3, 2, 1. It won't budge. Gotta be the storm damage. We need to... Welcome back. Any excitement down on the surface?
Excitement? No. Nothing like that.
Hey, can you hand me the EJ7 interlock? From the toolbox.
I don't know what that is.
Not much use for one on a security detail, huh? Carter?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Okay, I'll apply pressure while you decouple the panel.
Here, I'll help.
We've got this.
Open up and say ah.
Thanks for the hand. We have to get these isolinear chips down to engineering.
No problem. You really know everything about these ships, don't you? The tools, the systems. Like a walking Starfleet technical manual.
What can I say? I'm good at what I do.
I can see that.
Come on, start pulling chips.
What's this?
Some kind of crystal formation?
Whoa. This substance is a quantized spin crystallization of hydrogen, carbon, and lithium. It's emitting tetrametric pulses at an interval of 3.8422 seconds.
Quantized crystallization isn't natural. I mean, it's only theoretical as a means to engineer matter on a subatomic level. What's it doing in there?
Wait. Regulation 364, subsection 9.
What?
Regulation 364, subsection 9 orders that in the case of an unknown foreign substance infiltrating a sealed system, it will be placed in secure confinement before further examination. Retrieve a containment module.
Don't you think we're more equipped to deal with whatever this is?
No. Before anything else, this is a security issue. You don't even know what this is.
Which is why we need to study it.
Once it's contained.
Well, if it's not natural, then someone might have put it there. It could be a tracking device. Some kind of sabotage. Or even a bomb.
Which is why we need to get it to the containment lab.
Come on.
I can't make an exception. Not even for you.
I'm still going to report these crystals to Commander Westbrook when we send the shuttle data.
And I will inform my superiors. I'm taking this just as seriously as you are. But I overheard talk about the warp disruption on the shuttle. Now these crystals? Maybe this situation is more than we can handle with just a science vessel. We could trigger a distress call, get Starfleet to send more ships. Or I could send a message to my old CO on the Adirondack. Get some combat-tested vessels. We shouldn't do this alone.
Miranda, you gotta be more careful. If someone hears that, they could think you're talking mutiny.
I'm just trying to figure out how we can help. Okay, stand back. Get this to the containment lab. We'll get it set up for you. I'll let you know when it's safely confined.
Oh, we'll be there.
Last thing you want is to study this down in main engineering and have it explode next to the warp core. Almost forgot.
Can't have that.
Long duty, we're gonna get in trouble.
Like she might have changed her mind. But I guess this whole situation has her spooked. Maybe she knows more than us? Or it's because this is all happening so fast? But she usually doesn't scare easy.
Well, of course she's taking it seriously, but that's her job. If she's on duty, she's gotta be on the lookout for danger.
Yeah, but talking about sending a distress call on her own? That's going too far. She was probably just thinking out loud. I'm sure she'll come to her senses. This mission has enough complications stacking up.
Now, we'll get through it. You, me, and Miranda too.
Commander Rydek was able to work behind the scenes during the negotiations and made contact with a representative from the Hotari delegation named Tylus. She mentioned an unusual artifact of unknown origin being held under tight security within the Hotari palace.
That chick,
came from the mines on Tau.
volunteered or whatever to get onto the ship last minute. I think she's bad.
And to the warp disruption we now know has been targeted at the Resolute. Commander Rydek, if you want to take it from here.
Of course. Tylus managed to infiltrate the heavily guarded location within the palace and sent us these scans using my tricorder. It appears to be some sort of control panel, possibly connected to the warp disruption weapon originating on Tau. Of particular interest is this symbol, which we couldn't identify the origin of.
The Federation database has records from a vast number of civilizations. If anyone from Starfleet has come across this before, the system should recognize it.
Cross-referencing with Federation records.
Displaying symbols from Federation database with a 90% probability of match or higher. Select a symbol to further analyze. .2% match.
Got it.
So, what are we looking at?
The design and composition indicate this is a glyph associated with the ancient Khan Empire. Their civilization collapsed over 600,000 years ago, but once spanned millions of systems with a population numbering in the trillions.
Fascinating. The Takan were once the most advanced, most powerful civilization in the galaxy.
Is it possible the Hotari found Takan technology?
I wonder if they even know what they have.
Our knowledge of the Takan is limited. I have only encountered passing references to them.
We don't have the first idea what this is or what it means. And we have all of the Federation records available to us.
Perhaps we should see what else the Federation records show.
Computer, what is the last recorded discovery of other Takan artifacts?
On stardate 41386.4, the USS Enterprise D, under the command of Captain Jean-Luc Picard, discovered a Takan outpost in the Delphi Ardu system. According to the mission summary, an unbreakable energy-draining field was deployed against the Enterprise and a Ferengi ship. The Enterprise was only able to escape after negotiating their release with an entity known as Portal 6-3, Guardian of the Takan Empire.
Unbreakable energy draining field. It starts to make sense.
What else is there?
There's a lot here. Let's take it piece by piece.
Select the aspect you wish to learn more about.
What sort of planet is Delphi Ardu 4?
Delphi Ardu 4 is an M-class planet, a barren rocky world with little to no vegetation and frequent ion storms. The giant crystals that grow there absorb energy, but it is not understood how they do so. The entire Delphi-Ardu system, consisting of 11 planets, was considered completely uninhabited until the encounter with Portal 6-3.
Frequent ion storms. That can't just be a coincidence. There appears to be some sort of restriction order from Starfleet. Computer, explain this restriction.
A Starfleet directive similar to General Order 7 forbids entering the Delphi-Ardu system or attempting to make contact with Portal 6-3.
Starfleet doesn't throw up a no trespassing sign for just anybody.
I suppose it makes sense considering what happened to the Enterprise D.
The technology to capture and hold the Federation flagship would have to be unbelievably powerful. Computer, what else can you tell us about the energy-draining field the Takan used?
The Enterprise D was unable to break free on its own. The precise nature of the technology was never fully understood. Only that the crystalline technology used was beyond the comprehension of then-current Starfleet science.
The engineering team found a quantized spin crystal formation in the shuttle you took to Hotari. They registered tetrametric radiation coming from it.
We have Takan technology on board right now?
We might. I'll run a full analysis in the containment lab.
Someone from the Takan Empire is actually still around.
Or at least was, 16 years ago.
Computer, what other information do you have on Portal 6-3, Guardian of the Takan Empire?
The entity known as Portal 6-3 is of an unknown nature. A biped humanoid, he was unaware that the Takan Empire no longer existed at the time of the encounter. He was able to control the crystal-based technology of the Takan outpost through apparent telepathic means. It was by his choice that the Enterprise was released from the energy draining field after Commander William T. Riker of the Away Team argued on behalf of both Starfleet and the Ferengi.
Telepathic control of their technology.
As I have said, they were the most advanced civilization in the galaxy.
The Elydians should have crushed the revolt. But if the Hotari have Takan technology and can control it, I see why they're willing to negotiate peace. For all we know, this could be just the beginning. And we're up against something greater than we can imagine.
For now, it's probably best we don't let on how much we know.
Play our cards close to the vest. Smart. I agree. Then when the time is right, we can confront them.
Diplomatically, of course.
Right.
We've been able to triangulate the source of the ionic interference and warp disruption to a specific mine on Tau. Engineering used the latest data from your shuttle to pinpoint its origin.
There.
So we know where to look.
We need to know what's down there. What the Hotari are hiding, to better understand what we're up against. And to neutralize it if we can.
Captain, embarking on a mission to the Hotari moon would not be viewed favorably by either side. However, given the circumstances, we are entirely within our rights to defend ourselves.
I just want to make sure this doesn't blow up in our faces. Which is why I'm thinking of sending Commander Rydek on a covert mission to Tau. Assuming you're up to the task. It would require absolute secrecy. And obviously, it's not without risk.
I'll get the away team in and out. They're in safe hands with me.
Under normal circumstances, that would be the case. But given the sensitive nature of this incursion, I'm afraid you'll have to go it alone. I'm hoping Tylus can accompany you. The priority is to avoid detection. It's a calculated risk. The last thing we need is to get caught and then blamed for violating our neutrality, aggravating an already tense situation. We can't afford any mistakes, which is why I've chosen you.
It's a risk we have to take. We need to know what we're up against.
Agreed. And of course you'll have the full support of the Resolute throughout.
We must take every precaution.
You don't have warp drives, so what
Get
good
in
is
touch
that?
with Tylus and make the necessary arrangements as discreetly as possible.
Bridge to Captain Solano. The Illidians have moved additional ships to the edge of the Hotari system. Current heading is straight for the homeworld.
Understood.
It would seem we no longer have the luxury of waiting. In that case, may I suggest you and I return to Hotari Prime? Doing so will provide Commander Rydek as much time as possible to complete her mission.
Agreed. We'll hail the Queen's delegation from my ready room. We all know what we need to do. Dismissed.
Damn. First solo mission. Oh shit, I was hoping they're gonna let me get on the ship and actually do it, but okay, yeah, they are. Oh wait, no, we're
Petty Officers Diaz and
I
Ensign.
gotta, it's
Where's the
1
crystal
AM,
formation
so I
that
gotta
you
go
found
to
in the
bed.
shuttle? I have tasked Ensign Calloway with performing a full analysis of the tetrametric pulses.
Security brought it to the containment lab.
I was just there. They don't know anything about it. Security never checked it in.
Miranda never got there?
Yep. Damn it, she's bad. She's bad. Damn. GG. Thanks for watching. I'll probably play some more tomorrow. I've been really enjoying it. I'll probably pick it up tomorrow afternoon. So just stop back by.